specs too.
But that will be, so 9 guys will leave here and go there. Although there's a 3-man taxi squad that can stay with the team as well.
Right.
There he is.
What's up, man? Let's get this
Hi, Jed.
centered. Well, let me turn the volume up. What's up, Len?
How you doing?
I'm doing well. How you doing?
Good. At the ballpark.
Are you?
It's nice. Yeah, beautiful
You
day.
there?
You hear the train?
Is it kind of slow?
That's kind of cool.
All right, Jay, can you hear me? This is Kevin, the director at Marquee.
Yeah.
Perfect. Video quality
It's a
looks
little.
great.
Yeah. Okay. It looks a little. It's a little slower than I'm used to. That it's gonna take some getting used to. Like there's more of a delay than like on Zoom.
Is there? Okay. The only thing I want to do is just kind of frame your shot out a little better. Are you working on
Yep.
a laptop?
No, I'm working on on an iPad.
Okay, no, that's perfect. Can we raise your iPad up a touch? I just want to,
Yep.
the goal is to kind of make the camera just a little bit more eye level with you. Perfect.
Um. Is that? Oh, that didn't work. Did it? Um. Is that better?
Yep, and let's see. So if you slide to your left a touch, just want to frame me up now. All right, and then can we tilt? Do you have room to tilt down on the iPad? I just want to create less space between, you got it, the ceiling and your head. Yep. All right, and then either if you can physically slide to your left just to center you up in the shot, or if you want to move your iPad, whatever's easiest for you.
That's probably best.
Yep,
Does that
there
work?
you go. Yeah, touch more to your right, sorry. Just split the difference there. Yep, right there, perfect. And then if there's any more room to tilt down, I'll take it. I know it's tricky with the iPad. If not, that's fine. Right there, yep, you got it right there. Perfect. And then just a 5 count. I just want to check your audio sync, and then I'll turn it over to Len and JD.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Perfect. Thanks so much.
Awesome.
All right, about a minute away here, Nick. Stand by. All right, I'm rolling. Start on 3-shot here. Whenever you want.
All right, thanks for joining us, Jed. This is Nick, the producer at Marquee. Appreciate it. Len,
Anytime,
go ahead
guys.
and start us off. I'll give you a 5 count, and then we can just go from there.
Great.
All right.
Okay.
Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2.
Jed, thanks for joining us today. This is obviously an unprecedented moment in our country's history and certainly in Major League Baseball history. There was a lot of sitting around waiting for that phone call, and then all of a sudden the call came, and the last week has been a real sprint to get to today. How is the intake process of getting players from their homes to Chicago, getting them tested, getting them into a new routine here at the ballpark?
I think it's gone great so far. I give a lot of credit to Dr. Adams and our trainers. They've done a really good job of organizing it. You walk over there, everything was very clean, very organized, and I think the players felt very comfortable. My wife and I tested in the other day, and she left very impressed with the way the protocols were. So I think we're off to a good start in that regard. It's unusual. Obviously, we're not used to testing every other day, and that's never been part of our daily routine. But that's the moment in this country right now, and honestly, I'm heading over to the ballpark here in about an hour, and I actually feel sort of like the first day of school. I'm excited. There's a lot of bigger concerns, I think, in the country than baseball right now, but this is what we do for a living, and I think a lot of people are going to be really excited to be watching baseball again, and it's exciting to head over there today.
Jed, is there an expectation in terms of the numbers of positives you expect to see with the Cubs or league-wide, kind of based on what happened with the NBA? And then secondarily, I'm wondering if you feel now that guys are here, they're going to have a better chance to kind of contain that and kind of make sure guys follow all the health protocols.
Yeah, I mean, as far as the number of positives that we've been given pretty strict orders about what we can and can't say. With regard to the Cubs, I will say that no material changes from when I spoke on, I guess it was Monday, about our numbers and our expectations. So that's a positive. As far as the league, I'll be curious as well, and hopefully the numbers are also very good, and we can get started. And the protocols are really strict, and I think that's a great thing. And we've all read the manuals and gone through the videos, and that is certainly the hope that once we get here, that with these protocols, that people can, with the testing and the distancing and all the measures, that we can stay safe. But ultimately, it's going to come down to our players and our staff being responsible. You can get it no matter how responsible you are, but certainly you do have the ability to make good decisions and keep yourself out of harm's way as much as possible. And I think you're only as good as your weakest link in some regards when it comes to these measures. And so hopefully our guys will take it really seriously. The excitement I've heard from the coaches and players about playing, I think would indicate that our guys are going to take it really seriously and try to let's all stay safe and healthy, and keep our families safe and healthy as well.
Let's talk some roster stuff here. 60 man roster total. You guys were pretty short of that, as a few other teams were as well. Uh, were you curious to see what other teams did, and kind of strategically how you tackled summer camp, and how you would divvy up the roster?
We were curious. Some of the early teams went to 60 or went close to 60, and we had already made the decision to go in at 50. So um, we felt good about the strategy behind it, and I think that when we saw other teams go in, some teams as low as 44 or 45, I think it sort of validated in our mind the right thing to do. You can't take guys off the 60 man easily. You have to make a trade or release a player or outright the player, whereas you can add guys very simply. And so it just made sense to do it in stages. Let's get here. Let's figure out what's going on a little bit. Let's see what kind of shape guys are in, and then we can sort of either go with a more major league depth 60 man, or if you want to add some more prospects, we can do that as well. But it just made sense to tread lightly, and I think like I said, I think other teams sort of followed our lead on that as well. That other teams had the same ideas.
Yeah, there's a general assumption around the game that as is the case every spring training, uh, you got to be very careful with your pitchers. They're not going to be stretched out. They're not going to be able to give you innings. Do you believe that to be the case, or do you think there are going to be some guys based on their workload during this downtime that are actually going to be ready to give you a little bit more than maybe we expect?
Yeah, I think guys are going to be ready to go. Obviously, there's going to be a huge disparity on conditioning. You'll have guys in amazing shape, and you'll probably have guys that didn't do a lot during this process. But I do expect that some of the pitchers have been throwing live BPs and probably are out to 90 pitches or so already. And so I think a lot of the starting pitchers' goals was to stay ready and keep their workloads up. And I think the starters are a concern, but I think the relievers are as well. It's hard to simulate that game condition with the adrenaline. Luckily we have 30 players to start, and we can hopefully give the relievers enough rest, because I think that's going to be a challenge as well. Just like guys going back-to-back days or 3 out of 4, I think is going to be a challenge to start the season.
Jed, last one, back to the roster, and we talked leading into the interview about the new rules, and it's kind of the opposite of what we normally see in the regular season. You'll have your biggest roster to start the regular season, and it'll whittle down to 26 at the end. I wonder if this is one of those rules that might stick. Could you see a scenario where, if everything is back to normal in 2021, you might have a bigger April roster and then get down to a normal size roster for the rest of the year? That might be an advantage.
I would love it. I think that'd be wonderful. I know in the past they used to have a bigger April roster, and they would cut it down at the end of April, and I don't know what year that went away. But I think the April issue is every bit as big as September. I've always been a big proponent of getting rid of September call-ups. To me, the most important games of the whole year are played in September. That's the pennant race, and we now play those games with a totally different set of rules. I never begrudge a team, for changing the way they play. That's strategy, right? But you look at some of these September games with constant, pitching changes the whole time, and a lot of times the way your team was built for the whole year is very different. You might have a set of pitchers or a set of hitters that don't do well against same-sided pitchers or hitters, and all of a sudden it renders that completely moot. I remember one year in Boston, we had Chad Bradford from the right side, we had Mike Myers from the left side, and they were super effective almost the whole year. And then you get into September, and the opposing manager always has a pinch hitter to go up against those guys, and it never seemed right to me that what could be good for 5 months of the season is no longer good for that last month. And I think that we should get back to a place where the game is more uniform as the year goes on, and the most important games are played with the same rules. So I'd be excited if we even cut down September significantly. And if this is the start of something, they have a fan in me, because I think the September call-ups are sort of problematic from a competitive standpoint.
Amen. I'm with you. Jed, thanks for the time. We really appreciate it.
Awesome. Anytime, guys. See you over there.
Be well.
Excellent.
I would be
Yeah, that would be
I'd
one
be so
rule that
excited.
would nice to stick.
I hate September call-ups. I didn't want to say it, but I want to be like the Brewers have done. They basically have added.
Yep.
You know, they've had 40 major league players the last couple of years, and give them credit, it's worked, but it's just a different ball game.
Yep.
Yeah, it's
Totally.
kind of a painful experience watching September baseball.
How is it over there?
It's beautiful. Yeah, it's weird. You know, it's just, I think people need to get used to it. And it's just forming habits, right? And once that happens, I think this will be a lot easier.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, like I said, I'm excited to go over there, but there's a part of me that's a little bit anxious as well. You know,
Sure.
I was talking to an NBA GM friend of mine who's about to go down to the bubble, and he was telling me like their stuff, and it made this seem like child's play. So
Yeah, I
I
can
do
imagine.
think that, I mean, it's going to be wild to see how strict some of that stuff is.
Thanks for doing it today.
Yeah.
I'll see you guys over there. All right.
Okay.
All right, see you, Jed.
Thanks, Jed.
Yep.
That's good. Yeah, I think the roster thing makes a lot of sense. And the other thing, it might encourage teams to have the young kids up earlier because they can't wait for that,
Mhm.
you know, September